All right, I think we're on the air now. Okay. Hi, guys. I'm here with Wenzes, a fellow INFJ, and I'm going to let her introduce herself if you know her or if you're new to her channel. Here she is. She's awesome. Wenzes, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Emily. That's so sweet. Like, first off, awesome. Like, I told you this before. I'm so happy you're doing this, and we're all a community, and we're all in it for the same thing. So I'm really, really happy you're doing it as well. I've been doing videos for like INFJ videos for the last 4 years almost, and it started with me just a personal life crisis, thinking about what's going on, and just looking. I was like around 26. No, I was 28 at that time, but it started when I was 26, really like looking, okay, what is it? Am I an empath? Like, why is this all happening? Why am I so upset and don't know what to do? And then I found like INFJ as like, I just found Myers-Briggs. I found it, and this was like a system, a model I could work with. And then from that point on, I started doing a lot of like self-empowering things. And I was looking at the community back then. Specifically, it was very much, we gonna feel sorry for each other, we gonna tell each other we're all misunderstood, and nobody understands us, and so on. And it wasn't really something that was helpful for me at that time. Like, when I knew I needed to change and be more about self-empowerment, I thought this is the way for, like, this is now the time for me to actually help people to also find that and find joy in their life through self-empowerment and personal development and so on. Because I didn't have anybody to help me, and I wanted to help others. And since then, like, the community has changed so much, and I think a lot of us are really helping each other to have a better life and to, like, make the world better and more exciting. So yeah, I'm really happy that we get to talk today as well.
That's awesome. I started this journey a few years ago, and actually, you were one of the first channels that I looked into, specifically about INFJ and kind of understanding. And something I really like about your channel is that you go into socionics, which is kind of a rabbit hole for many people, and a lot of people use it in a negative way. But something I really like about the way you use socionics is, first of all, you understand that there is a correlation between MBTI and socionics, and um, you use it to develop not only yourself but to help others understand the intertype relations and how they can relate with one another. So if you want to talk about anything about socionics right now, I know that's kind of a broad
That's okay.
topic.
Yeah, that's okay. Like, I haven't I haven't really talked about socionics in a while, but
Yeah.
I have been obsessed about socionics. I love it, because for me it was, as you said, like a rabbit hole in a way, but I was so deep into it that I got to a point where I felt like I knew all I needed to learn, and then it was for me to move forward. But I encourage everybody who's like dabbed into Myers-Briggs a little bit and wants to know more to go into socionics, specifically the dichotomies. If you look into it, it's about like how what kind of system you build, not only as an INFJ. In socionics you call it INFP, but also for other types. So let's say you're talking to an ENFJ, and the more you realize like how their system works with dichotomies, and what they're most like, what they value so much. The ones value ideas more, the other value like possessions more. You realize just a bunch of stuff like this. And also with inner type relationships, you really realize, okay, what is duality, what does that do for me? It just gives you another like outlook than Myers-Briggs does, but I completely don't think that they don't correlate. I think they work perfectly together. I just think socionic goes a little bit more in depth, let's say, to the right, and MBTI goes more in depth on the left, but they all overlap. So I personally loved it a lot, and yeah, I can only recommend that. Do you have anything specific, I don't know, like exactly, um that you find that you're really like in socionics, that you've gotten really excited about, or that has helped you a lot, that you want to us to go a little bit into?
Um, Well, I know you've mentioned well, so many different. I've told you this before, but I've watched almost all of your videos, and um, that's why I know those videos are old, but I'm kind of going back to that a little bit. Um, I like the fact, like, one of the conversations that you've kind of talked about in a few of your videos was your interaction with your cousin, the ESTJ cousin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously that is the conflictor relationship. And I actually find those very interesting because in socionics, which I think is kind of people are a little too overly obsessed with this, like the dual, the quasi dual, all that stuff. It's like such a positive relationship, and people don't really talk about how they can develop the negative relationships. Like my sister is an ISTJ in Myers-Briggs, so ISTP in socionics. So she's the super ego relationship, and we have a phenomenal relationship because of socionics. We were both able to kind of realize what kind of differences we have and be able to work through it, and it's been really beneficial. So maybe just kind of tell people how, maybe even share a story about how those relationships have helped you, or
Yeah.
understanding those
Yeah,
relationships.
like I can completely just like agree with everything you said, because socionics, just as MBTI, is a model. It's not like you can say that one person fits in that mold directly, but it helps us to give us like this reference point. So a lot of things we cannot make sense of, and then once you have a system you can make sense of, and you see, okay, this is how they approach life. And it's of course very it makes it like very easy. It's like a complex person. Then you say, oh, this is an ISTJ, or as I said, or in socionics, an ISTP, and that's how they approach life. But it really, really helps to not get hurt, butt hurt over something, because it just helps. And one of my best friends by now is an an ISTJ in Myers-Briggs, an ICP as well. And it has helped me a lot to understand where she's coming from. And for example, what I knew was that she valued a lot was honesty in a way. And I think in a lot of ways, me as an INFJ, I always learn to, show certain parts to people, especially what I was like, show certain parts to people because they're not going to accept it. They're not going to like it. And I knew that the way she viewed the world, when I would show her, for example, what kind of music I would listen to. Just a quick example, I had like this song about, it was something, it was years ago, but it was like a hip hop song about like the narcos or something. It was like something about like some drug dealers. And I wasn't even looking at it from, oh, this is morally wrong. For me, it's an upbeat song. It's about being a fighter. It's about being a badass. And, I'm going to conquer the world. And for her, and I started, like, back then I had like this tendency to post music a lot, to let a lot of emotions out. And I was scared to show that side of me in front of her, because I thought once I do that, then, she'll know this part and I know she's not going to like it. But I said I'm gonna do it anyways, because I realized I need to be more authentic, and people in general, but especially with types that value this a lot. And I dared to show that part of me, and she said like she didn't like it, but now she knew me better and she accepted that. And I think socionic helps a lot to exactly those things, to understand what other people value, what their strengths are. With ESTJs as well, like with everything, ESTJs for me is still very, very difficult, but I respect them in a completely different way after like really getting into socionics and understanding where they're coming from, and not expecting much of them. I think we tend to, not just INFJs, but people, we put like a lot of pressure onto others, and high expectations of that they should see the world from our perspective and understand us. And they just see it differently, and that's okay. And once we understand it, I just stay like in a specific distance to them and know on what kind of topics we can connect, and others that are too different. And yeah, the system has helped me a lot to understand others better and me. And it's really interesting because let's say a person is, let's say, an ESTJ or an ISTJ, and you want to learn more about it. And once you have that system next to you, you can make just more sense out of them, actually get to know that person better, because you dare to go deeper, because now you have like things to hold on to, and you're not scared that you're gonna lose yourself pretty much in the other person.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And that's the way I think socionics should be used, is in a positive way. Some people do go down in a crazy way, but kind of getting off of typology, this is going to be helpful for INFJs because you have talked about this in so many of your videos, and you're talking more and more about it. And that's the personal growth aspect. And you talk about a lot how you were 5 years ago, or stuff like that. What would you kind of talk about your personal journey with growth, and kind of how you were when you were younger, for people that may not know you?
Yeah. So yeah, let me go like back. So as a child, I was rather weird. I was the one who was like dancing around, like jumping around, and not how like my friends, or like not even my friends, just like how anybody in my world thought was cool. And so this is how I grew up. This is who I really was. And by the time I became a teenager, I got really good at playing a part. So I was really, really good. I had like this social standing, I guess. I was cool. I had like a group of friends, guys like me, and so on. But it took me a long time for me to realize that it was all a front. It was just I was really good at seeing how an emotional atmosphere works, knowing what people will react to, how they're going to react to what they want. So I was pretty much playing everything they wanted me to be, and what they would, girls and guys, what they would think like, oh, that's so like beautiful or cool or whatever it is. And I realized more and more that, I still want authentic connections with people, and this is never enough. And every time I changed that role of, I'm going to play that role, and then I was being myself, I got like this disconnect, and people abandoned me and rejected me, because in a way they felt like I was playing them,
Yeah.
because in the beginning they thought, oh, she's everything I ever hoped for, the best friend, or the girl I could, fall in love with, or whatever. And then I realized, no, actually, I was just playing a part, and I wasn't even aware of it. It was subconscious. So I got to a point where I was just constantly being rejected, over and over again in my 20s. And it was just so super painful. And I got to a point where I realized, okay, a lot of rejection came back that I have felt through childhood, because of, the relationship I had with my father, and our dynamic, and how I learned to always keep myself small in order to get love. And I know now it's not like his fault or anything. It's just like the way he approached life, and I needed something different at that time. And most people are not aware how to do that with their child. And I think most of us have this as like a normal, like it happens. Like how many parents do not, mess up their child somehow in this way? Like it's just natural. So, and today, I've having this I'm here visiting my father, actually, and we have like this beautiful relationship that I never thought was possible. My father's an ENTP, and it's amazing. But long story short, so this whole thing came up, and so I was dealing with like all of this rejection, and now I thought, okay, I cannot pretend to be small anymore. I need to bring that out. Like for me, I had this inner strength that I always like used to hide from people, because I thought once I do that, I'm not going to get, like, people are not going to love me because I'm, let's say, better than them in something, or whatever it is. But I didn't realize that first off, I was choosing people who I felt like I have more power over. I was choosing, and also my friendships, just people that I thought I have some kind of advantage, that when it comes down to it, I have a security blanket, because I know something about them that I can use. And it wasn't like even information. It was just me knowing that they have a vulnerability. So anyway, so I got to this point, and then I realized I have to really express myself, and I'm going to lose all of my relationships. Most of the people that were in my life back then are still in my life, but it's just the dynamic of the relationship completely changed. And for me, it felt like you're never going to get loved again. And I had to deal with that. But, once you go through that pain, it's like, I'm really, really secure now. And then I felt, okay, I have to just start creating. And it was really hard in the beginning because you really have to change like your mindset. It's like, you know, when you have people who barely make it out of bed in the morning, it's a battle to get up. It's a battle to do that. And for me, it was the same way. It wasn't a battle to get up, but to actually like really create a life. I didn't know my preferences. I always went like with the movies my friends wanted to watch, with the music my friends wanted to watch, and so it was like a time of self-discovery. What do I actually like? That I surround myself with this, and that I like encourage the fighter in me. That I thought, okay, especially as me as a woman, I don't have to be this, you know, sensitive, a little beautiful creature in order to be loved. Or even if it was necessary, I knew I was not only these things. I was also a fighter. I was also like, you know, as a child, like Wonder Woman was my biggest hero, and to live that out and to go for more and be ambitious. And yeah, and all of these. And then I started, like, as I said, I started to help people because of, it was just like a drive. I think most of us want to help people, but we tend to, you know, do it in a codependent way. We tend to help people who don't ask for our help, because they're our only outlet. And so once I learned, no, I have to like just help people who want my help, and everything changed. And then from now on, since yeah, I have ideas and insights and I just share them. And I personally also watch a lot of videos, and it's very, you know, I have like this left brain and right brain thing. That's like, for right brain, I look into Tom Bilyeu a lot, which is very practical stuff. Left, I look into Bentinho Massaro and Christopher Sheldon, which is a lot about frequency and more, let's say, more esoteric things. But the way I combine it, it's like not esoteric at all. It's just like, you know, physics. We know the more positive you are, the more positive things come to your life. It's just like the frequency meets there. And so I try to like look for these things just from an intrinsic point of view. I want to grow. I want to get better. I want to have, you know, be more blissful and have more abundance, and just see how far can my mind take this? Like, how much of an epic life can I create, but more in a playful way and not in a way of, if I don't make it, my life doesn't make sense. I think through going through that rejection phase, I realized like my life is just as valuable if I don't do anything as it is when if I do something. So this is more of a play thing. And once it becomes just like this play, and you know, I get like have a chance to help people and so on, it's much more easier to me because there's not so much at stake. I think a lot of us don't dare to do something because there's so much at stake, like that would mean something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, that was a long monologue. I'm sorry. But yeah,
No, it was awesome. I feel like a lot of people are gonna get stuff from that.
yeah. Yeah, that's how it is and where I'm at right now. And I wanna, yeah, I just allow myself whatever I'm like, the road I'm taking at this moment, to also share it. And you know, I always had like worries, okay, is it always something that like my viewers are gonna follow with? Like, are they gonna follow me with this? But you know, that's just what I do. I've learned not to just say, okay, I'm gonna talk about these 5 things because these 5 things are what people are looking for, but more to say like, this is what's helping me right now, and what can you take out of it? Because I believe no one can take everything from one person, which is too different. You know, I look at different sources, and I hope I'm just one source that helps somebody build their puzzle.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think as far as change goes, I think it's with any relationship, you have to be able to grow and develop with someone. So it's the same thing as YouTube. I personally I do things for people, but I also do it because I'm interested in the topics. I'm not gonna just, you know, make a makeup video just because like people want to see a makeup video or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
stupid things like that. But yeah.
Yeah, but I love, like, this is like so good with our communities, I think, because when people ask you, you know, but what about this? Then I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. I actually should talk about this because you're probably not the only one asking about this. And it's actually like something that's been happening. So I love the dialogue as well. I think it helps us. It's never just a one-way street anyways, right? We get feedback all the time, and it always shapes like what direction we go. So yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of things from what you were just talking about your personal your journey with personal growth that I want to address. But one of the things you've talked about this in several videos, that the sense of kind of not trying or not using your, not giving your all because you could just, you typically were at the top and you didn't even have to try. And then kind of when you decided, no, I don't care if I'm at the bottom, I'm going to give it my all and I'm really going to be, that's something I definitely have struggled with, especially like in school. I never had to really study. And I didn't always like get the best grades, but I typically was, did pretty well. And I didn't really have to, like, I would do things last minute. And I remember making it, this happened a lot in college or university. I would write a paper and then, like, the night before, like in the middle of the night, and then turn it in on time. And people that you spent like a month on the paper would get like maybe a B or C, and I would get an A. It's like, I mean, but I don't like that. That's something that I've always struggled with, is being able to try. And I kind of want you to go into, even though you've talked about this, how you were able to get over that and really kind of get over your ego and just do it.
Yeah. I love that you brought this up. I think a lot of us, like INFJs, have this. And this is actually something where socionics helped me a lot. So it was actually somewhere in like a socionics article where I read something that if INFJs, or they call it INFP, aren't the best at it, they don't even try. And so I realized, well, okay, yeah, I'm always the best at something. And for me, it felt like, yeah, where, like, there's nothing to go. Like, where should I go? And then I realized, yeah, but it was my choice in what direction I put myself in. So, for example, you're the best at university, but let's take out of like what kind of financial opportunities we have to go into schools like this. But, there are colleges out there where people are just as smart as you, and you probably wouldn't get ahead if you were just doing this at night. And for some reason, subconsciously, you chose, a school where you can get away with that. And for me, it's like, it's the same way. It's like I chose a job that I thought, well, this is like, I'm a derivative expert at 26 and so on. And I thought, yeah, like, what else is there? And then I realized, well, actually, there are a, and I didn't choose it because I was telling myself, well, that doesn't really, it doesn't really go with where I want to go, and it's capitalistic, and it's not like who I want to be. And then I realized, yeah, it's true, it's not where I wanted to be. But it got me so negative in like, because especially if you look at it from an energy standpoint, when you stagnate, if you're somewhere like, let's say you're the best, you never have to grow in a way, and your energy is really stagnating, and it really leads to depression, like in a lot of ways, because you're not moving, you're not growing, and so on. And then I learned that no matter what it is, even if it's not my dream job or where I want to go, I'd rather have the challenge of pushing myself, because then that in itself just gets my mentality to a better place. And I believe, but I know this only now looking back at it, that once you do that, you just have much more insight. So I changed my job, went for something that was like in a top tier consulting agency. So it's like on a, let's say like McKinsey and stuff, like, but it was only for banking. And I was really bad at it in the beginning. And I realized it's not like my field. But if I didn't make that jump, I wouldn't have known that, because on the lower level, I was the best, it was easy for me. So, excuse me. So I didn't know. So, but once I made that jump, I realized, okay, actually, because I made that jump, I first off got the insight that, if I really go down that rabbit hole, that's not the place for me. I wouldn't have known that on a lower space. Second of all, I learned to be, how do you call it? Just self-disciplined. I learned how to really organize myself to work for something. It's a skill, and we learn that. And so every time you have people around you who push you to do better, it's just good for your psyche. And then you can like really make the jumps and say, okay, now I have the insight. Now I can go and do something else that is more in tune with what is good for my soul, with good, like me being. And yeah, it was more of a of a way of a wake-up call for me. I was miserable, I was depressed, and I thought like, okay, the truth is out there, the exciting life is out there, and that's the only way. I realized I have to start fighting. And now I hope that when I talk to people about this and they're still in this state of, okay, I'm the best at this, and I don't, like where to go, that they don't have to go through the pain that I had to go through to realize that, but actually try it and say, I'm just gonna like keep fighting because I need to fight in my life in order to feel good. And it doesn't have to be like a negative thing. Like, I'm not a person, there are people who say life is all about suffering and then you die. And it's like, it should be like painful. I don't think that. When I say fight, I just mean like, grow, excite yourself, have like a goal, push yourself, go like this. And then the more you keep doing that, the more you realize what will give your life more meaning. Because if you stay at that place below, you can't get any insight. So don't stay there because you feel, oh, if I go up, this is not the right direction for me. That's okay. You're like, go up that mountain, even if it's the wrong mountain, you'll have like a better overview. And then you can say, okay, actually that mountain over there is the right one for me. But you would have never known that if you stayed down there. Exactly.
No, I oh my gosh. I hope I don't cry in this video because you're a really big inspiration. Okay, I'm already starting to cry.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. It's good. Don't worry about it. I'm excited.
No, I sorry. I absolutely love your videos and I love what you're doing because I've talked about this before on my channel, but I've definitely suffered with depression. And your videos are some of the videos that really helped me through it. I believe that, sorry. I believe that in the concept that the 10 people that you surround yourself with the most, you're the average of those people, or whatever the percentage is. And that can be, it doesn't have to be physically. You don't have to have friends in the, like, I mean, it's good to have people that you're friends with in real life, but as far as surrounding yourself, you can do that, especially now that we have technology and the internet. You can do that by watching videos and surrounding yourself by positivity. And I would say that you are definitely one of those people that I have put, even though you may have not known this, you are one of those people that I surrounded myself with. So
no, that's good. That's good. Like, really, like, first off, like it makes me really happy. Like, second of all, like, this is like what I do as well. And guess what? You'll also be that kind of person for somebody else. So you're actually, we're all helping each other. And like, yeah, like, this is like what I was dreaming of. When I was younger, I always thought like, I want to have a group of people that, I can inspire others, and I can get inspired by others. And like, seeing you, like, also talk, you'll connect with people differently than anybody of us ever will. So your unique gift to the world is so important. And so this is like what I'm happy. And I'm pretty sure this is also a reason why you said like, okay, I also need to help people to get out of that and to help them. And it's amazing. And yeah, I'm feeling really, really blessed that I could have, like, that I helped you on that way. And of course, I know like I like you said, like, you're an anonymous, but I, watcher, but I've seen your posts. I know, like, we've talked before. It's not like we've never talked before. So I'm really happy. I'm happy that you're at a like better place and that all of it is good. And yeah, I'm touched, and I'm happy I could help.
I'm glad. Okay, sorry, going off of taking away like me being an emotional wreck.
This is so like, people will like, oh my God, I love Emily. She's so real. Like, this is all like really, really good.
Oh, by the way, I told Wenzes about this, but Pumpkin's right here and Henry's right here. He's not being annoying because he went on a walk. So they're
very cute, those two.
And then Fleur's somewhere. I have a black cat named Fleur, and she's somewhere. But yeah, so going back to kind of personal growth and in motivation, you were talking about this and that for you, what you're trying to be the best at, what you are most interested in is personal growth and being present. Would you like to talk about that with people?
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I don't even know where it started, but when I always used to analyze other people, and I always used to analyze their behavior, and I realized more and more, well, it's for me. I want to try, I want to help people, but at the same time, I feel like I'm stuck. And so once I changed that, it became this intrinsic thing that was just pushing me. And in a lot of ways, I guess also MBTI helped me with this, because I knew, well, INFJs are more about, let's say those, spiritual, I don't like the word, I don't
Yeah,
know
me
why
neither.
I have like these negative, I think it was more negative back, like, let's say 20 years ago, and I had all these like drama and like whimsical and but let's say personal growth, that INFJs are more interested in this. And I was always in the technical field, and I said, well, okay, that's what it is. But I realized more and more, yes, this is what I like, because the way our mind works, or when I use my intuition, it's exactly about finding systems and patterns of relationships, of things, how I perceive the world, how we have control over perceiving the world. So this is something that I did one way or another. It was just something that automatically happens. And I mean, you can see it the same way. We have like those insights, they just come, just like, oh yeah, actually that's true. And so it didn't, like, this was just happening. And for me, it took me just a while to be able to categorize it. And so that's why actually I love this community, because we help each other characterize it, like categorize this. And like, also because you said, like, okay, and the people we surround ourselves with, like the fact that, like, all of us, hold on,
Oh, what's going
are you there?
on?
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I
I need
think.
to just, yeah, you can see me now. No, hold on.
Yeah, it's. I
No,
think there's just. Oh, I can see you now.
I need to just charge my phone, because I'm talking to you from my phone.
Here, let me charge my laptop too.
Where did I have my charger? Oh man, I don't know. Can you, like, I know this is like not.
Oh no, it's okay.
Thing, but let me just look for my charger. I'll be
okay. Let me see if there's any questions that people have.
Exactly.
So there's a statement. I've been going through a period of stagnation in my life, but it does not come from being the best, more so from feeling like I'm the worst, an imposter syndrome. And it's hindering my ability to work. It's led to major post-graduation depression. Any advice on how to get past this imposter feeling? And both love of your content, or love of both of your content, by the way.
Okay, why don't you, like, I'll give my insight, but what is your, like, take on that? What has helped you? I mean, how long have you been out of college now?
So I graduated, I took a 5th year of college. So I graduated in 2017, May of 2017. So I haven't been out for too long. But that's a really good question. I would say, let me see.
Like, what would, like, like, I guess, like, scared of failure in a way, and therefore not doing anything and stagnating.
Yeah. Well, he said, like, feeling like an imposter.
Yeah. Like, I also have a question about that, because normally if you feel like you're an imposter, it's like other people see that you're good, but you don't think good yourself in a way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. This is something that I kind of dealt with a little bit in college. It was actually during the time where I felt very depressed. It was the fall of 2015 or autumn of 2015 that I really got to the worst state. And in a lot of my classes, so I had to talk to my professors because it got to a point where I wasn't attending classes. And I had to tell them kind of what was going on in my life, and I wasn't just like skipping class just because, but because I was seriously feeling depressed. And the feedback that I got from my peers and from my professors during that time, I was just completely astounded by. Like they were like, "No, Emily, we love you." Like kind of like I felt kind of like an imposter. I felt like I like nobody really cared, and that it wasn't like I wasn't really helping anybody. But then from that experience and kind of talking to people, and that's my advice, especially about depression, is talking to someone. I ended up talking to a therapist, and I would recommend that if you're able to, because just talking through it and telling others about it, whether you, and I would talk to people that you trust, is very beneficial. And I didn't think of it as beneficial before that. I didn't think of it as beneficial. And then after graduation, I mean, I definitely have been on my ups and downs. I moved to Seattle, Washington after I graduated. So I drove across the country. I'm in South Carolina now, but that was a hard time of my life. I felt very alone. I felt like I kind of had to start from square one, and it's very easy to feel like nobody cares, and that you're kind of going through the motions. But I think really sitting down with yourself, which by the way, I don't know if Richard, if you're watching this, the guy that or whoever that commented this, but what's your personality type, if you don't mind letting us know? Because that also could, for me, it was sitting down and being honest with myself and looking towards other things, both online but physically, kind of coming one with myself to get over that situation and finding purpose in my life. I think purpose is a huge motivator. Finding your purpose, finding your why for why you do things, that's really what will get you out of bed and really make you get not feel as much like an imposter. Wenzes, what would you say?
Yeah, like I love to get into it, but what was it? Because I think the why question, right? The purpose, and I think the lack of it is one of the reasons why depression happens.
Yeah.
And people say, well, and Oprah saying, if you don't know your why, that's like you should go for it and find it out. And it's like so difficult in a way to find it. And in the end, like I've realized you have to just create it. I think if in the end, you always have to help other people, no matter where you are. If you really are somebody who struggles with this, like who wants purpose, because there are enough people who say, I want to make money, and they don't go this deep. But if you're looking for purpose, then there is this need for you to help others. It can be nature, it can be animals, it can be people. But as long as you only focus on you, it's not gonna, you're not gonna get happy. And realizing if I want to help others, then I first have to start with me, because I need to fill up my cup to have overflowing energy, and then I can help others. Otherwise, it depletes me. And the whole imposter thing. The thing is just to be okay. It's like really dealing with the fact that you will get rejected, because in the end we're afraid that people will find out that we're not good if we try, and we say we're the second to last, so don't try at all. So this is like the whole imposter thing, in a way that if we would really show people who we are, then we would just fall short. And I think it comes back to what we're talking about, that INFJs either are the best or they don't even try. Let's say in a undeveloped state. I think a lot of those definitions and descriptions are INFJs are like INFJs in crisis, INFJs undeveloped, and there's so much more potential than all of those things. So my suggestion to this is be okay with being second to last, be okay with second best. I have a video on this, and deal with the pain that comes with it. And once you do that and you fall short, that you say, okay, I'm okay with being somewhere in the middle, and then you can once you're okay with that, then you stop comparing yourself to others, and then you just strive to get better than you were yesterday, because there's always it's always a matter of who you compare yourself with. You know, we talked about it, you and me, like that you said, okay, you're in college, you just get like the best grades, and then you compare yourself to other people that didn't have that. Other people go like, and I've had it like with INFPs quite often, that they are in situations where they always see that everybody's better than them. But all of this is relative. Like all of this, there's nothing, like no matter what you are, if you're Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg or whatever it is, like whatever it is, there are always people who are better than you. There are always people who have it worse than you or worse than like yourself. And so once you overcome this fear of being worse than others, and you will only do that while really going for it. So just choose a field where you know you're gonna fall short, where you know other people are gonna, like this specifically towards Richard, where you know like you're gonna fall short, you know people are gonna be better than you, and you're still gonna do it. You're gonna be okay with that. You're gonna sit with that pain. You're gonna realize you're strong enough to take it. And once you overcome this, then you don't even care comparing yourself. You know, sometimes once you like really dealt with this pain, and then it's just a matter of get better than you were yesterday, and you keep doing that, and this will give you satisfaction and will get you out of this rut of being like stagnant in a way.
Yeah. And I think what you just said about comparing yourself to yesterday, and I think so many people, and I've talked about this before in some of my videos, and you've talked about it, is comparing yourself to others. And it can be positive, but it's also, I would say it's mostly negative, because really at the end of the day, nobody else is like you in every way, like you were saying. And the person you need to mostly compare yourself to is your former self or your yesterday self, and realize that there's certain abilities that you have that other people may be lacking, and vice versa, and not being so caught up with the comparison aspect.
Totally. Yeah, completely agree. Like, I know it's hard in the beginning, but you know, realizing, well, I'm never going to have as much SE as an ENFJ, for example, or I'm never going to have as much SE as an ESTP. That doesn't mean that I should never try to do my SE, my best version of SE. And it's not even so much because, like, I always ask myself, what for? Why should I do that? It's just for fulfillment purposes. It's not like you're more worth than once you do these things. It's just like life is more fun. Life is more exciting. Life is more full. And once I realized that, then, you know, I had completely different ambitions for going for. For example, I always used to work out a little bit, but it was more like, I wanted to look good or whatever. And now I know, once I started thinking about, well, I want to grow, I want to do this because it's fun. If I want to grow, I need energy. And if I want energy, I need to like get stronger, also physically, so I don't get like tired after 2 hours. Once I had like my why in place, then it's like a whole different story, and I get much more excited about it.
I think that's extremely beneficial to anybody that's watching, no matter what their personality type is. And I know, like, especially lately, you've been talking about that kind of stuff. And I know you've mentioned Eckhart Tolle and other kind of new age.
Let's call them spiritual teachers.
Yeah,
we don't like it, but yes.
It's funny that you say that, because I really do not like the word spiritual, but because it does, like, I don't mind it now, but yeah, it does have that kind of connotation of being like, woo, like kind of witchcrafty, kind of weird stuff. But it's not that way. And there's so many personalities and personal development gurus, if you want to say. What people do you look to the most about that kind of stuff? And I know you look to different people for different things.
So it's really weird, because for me it's really in cycles. Like, it's like for 1 month I'm completely obsessed with everything that Tom Bilyeu does. So he did like Quest. It's like a nutrition bar that's like now the first nutrition bar that's like now healthy, and does impact theory, where he has like people who have like really created a life for themselves in a way of contributing to others. It's not just like this, I'm gonna make money and so on. So like for a long time it was like I was really focused on that, and then it was like too rational for me because he like completely is all about you have to outwork your competition, you have to really do the work harder, work smarter, and I just don't, that's just not my mentality. I don't like to work that much. First off, like I don't think it's like necessary to have like a fulfilled life. And you know, I really believe more and into that, you know, the more you really get in tune with, you know, energy and right frequency, the more things will just like come to you more naturally. And the more success you will have. And success, it doesn't have to be like, as I said, just something financial, but also like how many people understand you, how many people you can reach, you can touch, and really have like you know, like a contribution or meaning like this. So yeah, so as I said, I've told this before, but I'm just gonna mention him. So Tom Bilyeu, a long time. Then more into the like left, what is it, no, right wing, which is more like this energy stuff, is Bentinho Massaro. Like I've like I have ups and downs with him. Sometimes I think his stuff is amazing, sometimes I think he's a total phony, but but it's like, you know, I try not to judge because I think like there's just a lot I don't understand. Like I've learned that everything now, I know I don't know anything, and that's how I also love if people approach, let's say, your material, my material, because there are people who don't understand everything or don't share everything, but that they pick up what works. You know, we don't have to talk about the things that don't work, but the things that do work. And then you know, hold on, let's say hi to my dad. He's here right now.
Hello.
Hello. So yeah, and yeah, so that's what I think. And so I always pick up the stuff that makes sense for me, and he talks in a way that really makes me think further on being really in the moment and being present. So Bentinho Massaro, I really like Christy Marie Sheldon, although there's not much material on her online. She works a lot about removing abundance blocks, so she does a lot with meditation and says like, you know, stuff that you picked up in childhood, and she gets you like to those places that you remove those blocks. And it's actually helped me a lot to get more into my subconscious. And I have some material from her from back in 2011. It wasn't even like expensive back then. And yeah, I just discovered Eckhart Tolle. Of course, I've known him for a long time, but it was like too slow for me, too monoton, like monotonous. And like I even tried it today, and today I also thought, God, I can't do this. But last week was really good. And then Joe Dispenza, this is also somebody who's looking more at it from a scientific point of view, but also works with like energy and frequencies. But he was actually on Tom Bilyeu's show, so actually that was like a gap between like the left brain kind of way of looking at it, very very structured like this, and then, you know, going that direction. So I always, yeah, those are, let's say, from like my people that I look forward like often. Those are my core people. And then, but I also like to watch more like fitness girls, because, you know, like just lighthearted stuff that is like, I like Whitney Simmons, I like Abby Pollock. It's just more of a, you know, we all need like so much of different things, and they inspire us to just be positive. It doesn't have to be something that is just like very, how does it say, like information wise. Like I believe we pick up energy just from like the energy of people. And so if you have just positive stuff, even if it's just somebody who talks about something, as you know, even if you had something that, you know, somebody's talking about gardening or something where the energy, or like cooking, like, you know, if you're excited about that you connect with, I say go for it and pull up and pick up that energy. So yeah, that's those are actually like my current people.
I think that's a good point. I think a lot of INFJs, or just people in general, when they're into personal development, or not even personal development, they think that they only should watch like motivational speakers or people that are kind of more insightful in that way. But I believe also that you get energy from anything. And I watch all kinds of different channels on YouTube. I actually watch a lot of family vloggers. Well, not too many, because I'm really interested in family and I mean, all across the board, all different things. And actually, I would say, have you ever heard of the YouTuber Evan Carmichael?
I have, yes.
He has really good videos,
Yeah.
especially for people that are a lot of the people, if not all of the people that you mentioned, besides the fitness people, he has videos about. And it's really interesting because he actually has interviews and stuff.
Yeah, doesn't he do like the 10 like 10 things about that person?
He
Wasn't it something like
does,
that?
yeah, he does different videos.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure that, like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I really like him as well.
Yeah, I think those are very. I'll link his channel, and if we can, I'll get links to some of the other channels or people because I think those are very helpful. So going back.
Yeah, just hold on. I'm
Oh,
really excited. No problem. I'm really excited about the thing that you said that you like to watch family vlogs because this is very specific. You know, I don't think that a lot of like it's, yeah, so like, you know, like it's everybody of us has something so specific, and I love that you're interested in family dynamics, and I think there's so much you could actually pick up from that that I haven't even looked into. So what do you think is like, where does this like love for family dynamics come from, or this like interest in that?
for me,
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this. I've mentioned it before in some of my videos, or maybe just one. I don't know. But people know this in real life about me. I want to have 7 children. I want to have a large family. I don't even have a boyfriend, but
That doesn't matter.
But
How
I've
many
always.
siblings do you have?
I only have, so I have a younger sister, and then I have a stepsister and a stepbrother. And my stepsister is just, she's like 4 or 5 months older than me, so we're close in age, obviously. And then my sister's 2 years older than me, and then my stepbrother, I think, is 29 right now. So.
Yeah. So, but
But
actually, yeah. So, like, I don't know, like, because I think for me, it's more like I have total anxiety about like childbirth, and I don't know, like, you know, like I just don't know. For me, I'm also somebody who's been alone for a long time. Like, I don't feel alone, but I'm not like I don't need to have a relationship,
yeah.
but I also want to be a mother one day. But you know, I believe the older I get, how great it is to have a family because my brother is 12 years younger than me. So until I was 12, I was like an only child, especially so like let's say my childhood I was an only child, and now my brother gets to an age, he's 20 now, I'm 32, so where we can actually really connect, and we're so close, and it's such a strength, and it's such a like such an added value to my life that I never thought was possible unless I saw it. So I, you know, I know what like family can bring, and so yeah, so that's really interesting. Like, good to know. Like, curious fact about you. 7 kids. Okay,
No,
we're
yeah,
talking a couple of years.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, that actually, I don't know if anybody watching this, this is just a very not super obscure. She's actually really successful, but maybe obscure in this community. There's a person, an influencer. She has blogs, like on, she has a blog, and she also is big on Instagram. And she has a YouTube channel, but she's not as much into it. But her name is Emily Myers. Her I think her YouTube channel and her everything else is The Freckled Fox. She just so happens to be basically the same height as me. We have the same natural hair color. Like, she has auburn hair. Her name's Emily. Like, she basically is living my dream life. Like, she has, it's unfortunate. Her first husband died at a pretty young age. I think he was in his early to mid 30s from melanoma. So that's really sad. She, at that time, I think she was 25 or 26 when he died, and she had 5 kids. And she's now married to a guy that she was friends with when she was younger. and he was a couple of years older than her, and they never dated at the time, but they used to write letters to one another, and they basically rekindled the relationship and got married, and they recently had a daughter. So now she has six kids. I think she's 27, and that's like and I know people probably think that's so crazy, but that's like what I would love. Like,
yeah, no, seriously, like one of the main reasons why, or especially when I was younger, and I was always like, when I have children, I want to be able to like handle it financially. Like now, I don't even care that much. I think like you can always make it work. But when I was younger, there was more like, well, I want to, not worry about what kind of like buggy I'm gonna get, or what kind of like that, that kind of way. So, but if you're able to like financially handle it, I think like why not? Like why not? Like like the way we live our life, also with like this whole INFJ community, and the way we talk, and this is not normal. Let's say normal either. It's not. So who's to say what is right and what is wrong? And I just love the time we live in, that you can just watch somebody, and because of YouTube, because of like, let's say, social media, you can just get such an insight into people, and just see that there's so many different kinds of people, that you're never really alone, that there's never this thing of that you're completely misunderstood. Because for me, I'm so into this community, I spend most of my time in it, that I never feel like I'm an outsider. I never feel that I'm misunderstood or I'm different, because I just chose my group of people to understand me, even my friends. So everybody of my friends is a different personality type, so I don't ever feel like I'm misunderstood. And I think it more happens when we put ourselves in a situation where we know there's nobody who we can share our thoughts with, and then it's like bad. But once we have like these connections, and you have somebody you can share it with, then also like your personal life, which you may not have like INFJs, there is like so much more good, because like that need, with the way we communicate, you get it like through this, and then other things you get through that. Like that's something I learned a lot, to stop focusing on having just two people in my life that I put everything on, and I expect them to be everything for me, and I'm just going to do everything for them. But to have a friend who I share my ambition with, another friend I share my passion for music with, another one I share like my thoughts on personal growth with, or like this community. And the things we talk about, it's not like I can talk about with my mom, my dad, my friends in that way, but it's no problem. Like it's they give me some, it's all good. And once I like said like I'm just gonna create a life and do this with everybody, it was really good. And so if you have like see like family dynamics that can be an example of it works, it gives you like so much more, like it helps you to say, okay, this is my dream and it's possible. I see other people doing it. Because I think we need positive role models anyways. Like we are being like ones that we stay like, for INFJs can do it positively, and also like young moms with a lot of kids, it's possible, and to see that is amazing. So yeah, I'm really happy. Yeah, I'm yeah, like why not? Like all the happiness for you. Like you're gonna be a great mom, I'm sure.
Yeah, I no, I definitely want to be in. I think just spreading positivity, and like you were saying, kind of not isolating yourself, and being open to everyone and accepting people. So for me, going back to like type relations and socionics, another thing that really I benefited from, and I think the people around me benefited from, whether they know about it or not, is from socionics, I learned to accept people for who they are and not try to change them. And I think that is a big thing, to never try to change people. I mean, yeah, people will change if they want to change, and there's certain things you can change, but fundamentally, you should never try to change someone, and just realize that certain people can't do certain things that maybe you want them to do or be. So
you just cut off that. You just say it again, that certain people can't.
Certain people may not do or be the person you want them to be.
Exactly. I think we always like want people to be a certain way, and then we realize actually we're projecting so much onto them that we should have done on our own. That we feel okay, like that person is so artistic, why don't they like put this out there? And then you realize, well, actually they don't want to do that. Actually they want to have a more private life, and I'm the one who wants to put it out there, and I just put it out on them because it's easier. And yeah, and I realized that more and more, that we, first off, we can't change anybody. We don't have the strength to change anybody. It's not possible. And once I realized that, then I also took the responsibility away from me.
Yeah.
It's like I thought I have to change others. They cannot change by themselves. And the moment I realized they're the only ones who can change themselves, I also realized, okay, I'm responsible for changing myself. And now I realize, the more, I mean, you probably have the same thing, the more you do things for you and you grow yourself, you see how people actually take this as an example much more than anything before. And this, like, the chances of people changing in a way that's better for them is much higher if you focus on doing the good thing for you, because then subconsciously giving others the permission to do the same thing.
Exactly. And this kind of ties into it. And I know you've heard this, especially like Oprah talks about it, is the most selfish thing you can do. And this talks about parenthood and everything. And this is so especially when you're an INFJ, this sounds so counterintuitive, counterproductive, is the most selfish thing you can do is to not be selfish. And it's not in let's say, oh, it's like an ego thing where you're just going out of your ego and you're being selfish and you're being self-absorbed. It's what this means is, by being selfish, is putting yourself first. And it's not like if you're religious, it's not about like putting yourself before God or something like that, but it's taking care of yourself. As you talked about, filling your cup so that your cup runneth over. And by doing this, by being truly intrinsically, having this intrinsic drive and being positive and having a very sound inward life, especially as an INFJ, then you're really able to help other people. When you're doing the things that you need to do, it motivates other people to do the things, just like how you did with me. Watching your videos definitely helped me, and it wasn't like you were directly telling me like, I'm like, get off of your ass and do something like, but just watching you and seeing that you can do it. And you're a few years older than me, and just by that and the experience and wisdom that you have, and you have a different background than me, but I realized that I was able to do that. And I think this is a big message for people to put themselves first, and quote unquote, and that's how you can best serve other people. Yeah. I don't know how that came out, but
completely agree. Like, that's like perfect, because like, I don't know, we said like we want to keep it like in 1 hour. I think that's like the perfect message. I don't know, I didn't want to interrupt you. If you want to have like really like good and important things you want to talk about, like, that's no problem. But I think this is like such like the overall message we have. And yeah, I can only like just, I don't know how do you say it in German, and in Bulgarian you say like, that's how I would sign that. Pretty much said, I would also like, it's perfectly how I would put it. I love it.
You would co-sign it?
I would co-sign it. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
I would co-sign it.
Yeah, I think really, I mean, we've been talking, you said about an hour right now.
Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah. Let's see really quickly if there's anything questions that people have said.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were talking about the 7 children thing. I know that's kind of crazy. One person asked, how's Bulgaria treating you?
Really, really good. Like, really good. Like, I've been here every year, but now it's like different. I'm enjoying it. It's, the standard is not as high as it is in Germany, but it's it's very close to nature, and you feel it. And I don't have all I do is just stuff I want to do. And we have like this mentality here that we eat lunch and I make like salad and we drink beer at lunch. And it's like, we're outside, and yeah, so everything is just flowing. So I'm really happy, and it's really going good for me. And yeah, if you want to know, like I try to do like a little IG story, like Instagram stories, and like share a little bit there. But yeah, it's been really good.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. I would love to go to Bulgaria. I've been to Germany several times. I love
You
Germany.
have?
Yes.
Yeah. How
Um,
come?
so I haven't talked about it too much on my channel. I've talked about it a little bit, but actually, when I was in university, partly why I spent a fifth year there is I actually got the opportunity because I actually, when I was in college, I made myself join Model United Nations, like simulating the United Nations. And through that, I got to travel to Europe every year for free
Oh,
and
so cool.
compete um, and stuff.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
really
one of my best friends lives in Germany. She is actually going to move back to the US. She's pregnant right now. Her and her husband, she actually met her husband when we were in high school on our high school was really awesome because it had a 2 week kind of where you host a German student, and it was a girl. And then she went over to Germany for 2 weeks during the summer, and that's where she met her husband.
awesome.
Yeah. And
That's
so,
yeah. That's for how I got when I went to 1 year in the States when I was in a junior, and I met my ex-boyfriend there. So yeah, that's exciting. But yeah, Bulgaria is completely different than Germany. Germany is very I mean, like in comparison with the States, it's I think like a lot darker. It has like this Gotham City vibe. I think that's just Western Europe altogether because like everything is really old.
yeah.
The buildings have been like there for 500, 600 years, even older. And Bulgaria is, it was a socialist country. It's a lot of like the roads not as good, and so it's not like as industrialized as Europe, as like Western Europe is. So it's like a lot different, but in a lot of ways it reminds me actually even more of the States because it's like young, like the country is of course older, but like the roads are much younger than in Germany.
Yeah.
In Germany, the roads that were built like in the Second World War, they're awesome, but you can tell that it's like it's been built there. And now the streets over here, they've been built like in the last 20 years. You're building something, and like you're building new cities. In Europe, all the cities are, like they've been there for like, even my city Cologne has been there for like 2000 years. So everything is really narrow, and everything they built here is like, more, there's more space in between. And so it's like in the States when you're not in a big city. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love Europe. And I've never been to like Eastern Europe, so I would love to go. Um, okay, so here's a question. Does any one of you have any of okay, basically they're asking if any one of us has dated an ENFJ. And
You
what
go
are
first.
no, I don't think I've dated an ENFJ. I don't know all of the types of the guys that I've dated, but I'm almost 100% sure I have never been in a relationship or dated an ENFJ. What about you?
I don't know what the word was. Fatally attract. No, that's probably the word. I wasn't really dating an ENFJ, but I was head over heels for an ENFJ, and that was actually the worst, like that the biggest rejection in that way that happened before I started like doing my channel. And it's very interesting because it's like they're doing everything that you want to do with your life somehow. It's like really a mirror, how you say it in socionics, and you project so much on the other person, then you have to learn like I'm actually projecting that, and they're not who I want them to be. And so it was a really crazy dynamic. So if somebody wants to like see something like more about this, like my experience, like all my videos on one-sided intimacy, on setting emotional boundaries, on also my video INFJs and ENFJs is all about my relationship with an ENFJ. So I learned a lot from that. Most important thing in my life, like really most painful and most important part of my growth.
I think it's doing the thing that I told you about with the headphones,
Yeah.
where it's going back and forth. And it might be because it's picking up, because last time it was me on my side, I was picking up audio, so it might be.
Yeah, we can do that. But as I said, like, should we like wrap? Like, because like
I think we should probably wrap it up. Yeah, I definitely think we should probably wrap it up. And we can talk if you want to. We can definitely talk another time.
Again. Yes, love to do it again. I always love talking to you. It was amazing getting to know you a little bit. So I'm glad if we like just do this. Like, first off, stay in touch definitely, and then like keep doing this more often.
All right. Well, obviously subscribe to Wenzes channel if you haven't already, and because I think she has some of the most, I've said this before on my channel, but I think you have some of the best content, specifically for INFJs, but just in general, if you're talking about personal development, any other personality, I think you just have so much information, so much positivity. Your energy levels are amazing, and I think people can really connect to it. So
thank you so much. And like, you know, like we talked about it, I'm also gonna, if you're watching this on my channel, because I'm gonna post this, then also please connect and subscribe to Emily. Like, you know, love what you're doing as well. I'll like also put like your channel like in my description when I have it. And I'm so glad that you reached out, because we talked about it, that actually there are, you know, some INFJs, we both have reached out and they're not that open to doing these things. And in the end, if we can't be there for each other, why are we doing this for, right? So I'm glad that you reached out and we started talking and we're doing this and helping each other. And so I had a wonderful time, and thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. All right, bye guys. And if you have anything else to add, just put it in the comments. I know the messenger after the live stream, it doesn't let you interact, but yeah. Have a great day, and I don't. All right, bye.
Bye.